is Caleb Wilson. I derive from Baltimore City. Literacy is it's like looked at kind of in a bad light because in the city, kind of like slang takes over everything, and a lot of people in the city are like from like down south. Like everyone has that country grandma that says things like a certain way. She doesn't really care if it's not the right way to say it. It's just it's how they do it. As far as literacy goes, I was blessed to have like both my parents in the home, so they like enforced me to talk like proper. Um, we live in the age of technology, so everything's like text messaging and social media. Um, in the home, it's more of like it's got to be more personal, face to face things. But I feel like literacy isn't really tested at home much because you're in a place of comfort. So I honestly couldn't say that like I would give a good representation of how literate I really am at home. Fair for kids to have like both their parents in the home. So like if you're 7, 8 years old and your parents aren't home when you get out of school, are you really gonna do your homework? Like so, I mean, school is just looked at as something that we have to do. We gotta get up in the morning and get out the house. And like honestly, I did a lot of skipping. So like that just lets you know how I looked at school. I think it's a very important thing in society, but in the city, it's like we kind of feel like school isn't that important because we didn't really have the best stuff to, like as far as books and things like that, we felt like it was second rate. And prime example, I transferred from a public county school at a young age to go to a city school, and I was light years ahead of those kids. So I mean, I think that depending on the resources supplied and available, really like um, bestows like some type of importance into that. Now, like my mom went to college, but she didn't finish, and now she's going for her master's in psychology. So just having that type of reinforcement in your house kind of makes it seem like it's almost ludicrous not to pursue college or things of that nature. She's really big on like finishing school and just having papers to fall back on because we all have like dreams and aspirations, but if it doesn't work out, you gotta live in the real world. So I mean, I feel like I had that advantage on most kids coming from my area because I had two people trying to make sure that I did what I was supposed to do. When like I have like friends that whose parents were like never home and stuff like that. We would actually go to their place to do stuff we couldn't do at our house. So just to see it's very important to have structure in your home where you're just gonna have to kind of like teach yourself. And as we see now, kids trying to teach other kids isn't a really good formula. So having both parents in my house definitely gave me an advantage in school and everything else.
What you just talked about is actually a concept amongst literary scholars called literary sponsorship, where the factors that teach people how to communicate based on wherever they're from.
Hmm.
So
Intellect is kind of looked at in a negative way because it makes other people feel inferior. If you're having a conversation and they can't remember what you're saying or what you're talking about because they don't know half the terms you're using. So, back home it's kind of like you're forced to dumb everything down. 10-year-old kids that could tell you what a dime bag is before they can tell you like what a Harry Potter book is, or it's just different values are taught in different places. It's sad, but it's like if you don't start early, it's not like you're just gonna wake up one morning and be like, "Yo, I want to be a scholar" when all your life. If a kid wakes up and he's living in a household where you don't have someone on your back telling you like, I need you to do this, that, and the third, you're not gonna do it. It's no longer motivation there no more. And I think school has lost its motivation because it's like you got so many kids, different personalities, different things. They've taken so many things from school, added things to school. They change math every year, type of thing. It's like a continuous hole that you're trying to climb out of if you didn't start out a certain way. Like when I say like I feel like I had an advantage, it's because I came home every day and it was somebody that was making sure I did my homework and they were checking it and making sure it wasn't just done, that it was right. So they installed in me like a sense of pride in myself to be like on top of things. My dad always told me that every tub stands on its own bottom, and I don't see too many tubs stand on their own bottom if they're not willing to go out and do for themselves. Oh yeah, like yo, like can you imagine being in like fourth grade? This is when I remember it being really common. We would have to read like a story, anything, read some passage from a textbook, and you would have like a kid that could read fluently and like get it done, and then you have a kid that would have us in class for an extra 15 minutes because he couldn't pronounce certain syllables, and that was like kind of sad to me because it's like you got to be sensitive to the fact that yeah, he didn't have the same opportunity you had, but it's like where else you get help from? Like if we come to school and our
My name is Namdin Yellowford and I come from Nigeria. Oh, people think that literacy is being able to read. No, because if you just knew how to read, okay, do you know what you're reading? Do you know what words mean? Like literacy. Next question. Email. Yeah, because we got computer labs, but our computer labs is like computer labs for the community. Nigeria, you need like you need your education if you want to be taken seriously to succeed. So they take it very, very seriously.
to communication.
Because you can look at me in my eye right now, and know that my demeanor is I'm a very intellectual person. Because you know, but yeah, demeanor is everything. Because if you're doing a business transaction with somebody and they're just like all nervous and scared and this and this, you're gonna piece them out. You're gonna piece them out and try to take advantage of them. But if you That's actually a good question. We need to start with the parents because the parents. A child will wake up. He'll have a. See, everybody's always talking about, oh, they want this, that they're bored. People get on Twitter. Americans get on Twitter and they say they're bored. You are on a computer tweeting and you're bored. In 1990, we wouldn't even. There were no computers, no nothing. I mean, there were computers, but the social technology wasn't like that. Americans get bored easily, very, very easily. If you gave Twitter to 1990 college kids, are you kidding me? That's all they'll need. They'll never be bored. In Nigeria, TV. It's like this. If in America, if a commercial came on about education, we're probably gonna flip the channel, be like, whatever. Like, do you see those Everest commercials? They have that annoying black guy talk about go to school now. No, what the hell is that? Like, what the hell? You go to Nigeria and see commercial about education. It's like, okay, it's actually legit. I wish I could show you one, but it's taken way more seriously.
Also, come from a family of Guyanese heritage. I'm a student here at UMBC. People's ability to communicate with respect to whatever time or place or situation we're talking about. Speaking, man, people speak. People speak in a broken English sort of way in Guyana. I mean, you can say that about a lot of the Caribbean, but um, it's funny. Like, although people speak in a broken English in in Guyana, the place I've spent most of my time is the capital city, Georgetown, Guyana. And it's funny, people speak a certain way. My parents speak a certain way. They speak in broken English all the time, but people know how to speak do it all the time. They might not do it openly. People speak with slang just like they do here. People have a colloquial way of speaking, especially because of the type of society they live in. But when it comes to the way the kids are raised, literacy is it's basic, and the world you live in is survival, and so you know the value of literacy immediately, and so parents, you just right off the bat, like you come from a Guyanese household, your parents, you don't even speak to you don't speak to your parents. Sometimes, I mean, like your mom or your dad, people who grow up in a Guyanese household, they'll tell you, your parents will slap you if you don't even speak properly when you're a child. I mean, like they don't want to even hear you speak in a colloquial way. Maybe when you grow up a little bit older, and they'll be speaking in slang and all type of stuff in front of you. But when you're speaking to your parents, you know, they want you to speak properly all the time. They put it in your head, even as they're as people are speak with slang and speak in very unprofessional ways all the time.
So you wouldn't say that school is a primary sponsor for literacy in Guyana?
Parental culture differs geographically. In American low income communities, there seems to be a lack of parental presence, which leads to a limited emphasis on education as a means of acquiring literacy. While internationally, low income communities seem to embrace the idea of parents as primary of academic literacy. These interviewees all had a strong parental presence at home, which is correlated with their pursuit of higher education and intellectual literacy. Individuals in international areas of low socioeconomic prosperity are instilled with an accountable work ethic. This seems to be a primary difference between American hoods and international hoods.